Before we get started, please go over to Amazon.com and grab a copy of my book, Education and Justice. If you have an African-American son in public school, you need this book because I teach you the many ways that public schools mistreat African-American boys and what you can do to help your son. So go over there and get your copy immediately. All right, folks. How many times have you heard me say that elections have consequences? Elections have consequences. Elections, for those in the back, have consequences. And those consequences can be extremely uncomfortable. And I hate to see so many people from our community suffering these consequences. And it's the reason why, and those of you who've been with me for a while, you know, I did everything I could last year. I made so many videos warning our community not to re-elect Donald Trump. I made over about 15 videos on Project 2025. Telling you what would happen because they laid it out. They laid it out in that 930-something page mandate. And I knew most people wasn't going to read it, and most people couldn't understand it anyway. It was a lot of legal jargon in it. So I took my time to read it and make those videos because I wanted you to avoid the very consequences that a lot of black people are having and experiencing right now. Hey, family, do you believe in the work we're doing? Does our content speak to you? Do you appreciate our in-depth legal analysis and political commentary from an African-American perspective? Do you believe it matters to our community? Then don't just watch from the sidelines. Please click that membership button and become a member of the 2% Club today. That's right, we need just 2% of our subscribers to become channel members. For just $4.99 a month, that's less than 20 cents a day, you'll help us keep creating powerful content that defends our democracy, demands justice, and develops a strong African-American community. But if you want more, at $9.99 a month, which is only 33 cents a day, you'll get access to exclusive members-only live streams, bonus content, and behind-the-scenes updates. And for just $14.99 a month, which is under 50 cents a day, our top-tier members get access to live Zone calls, strategy sessions, and a direct voice in shaping this movement. We're not just building a YouTube channel. Folks, we're building a movement based on righteousness and justice, just what our community needs in a time of disinformation and division. So if you believe in what we're doing, click the membership button and join now. Become a member of the 2% Club today. Let's build something powerful together. And unfortunately, a whole lot of African Americans listen to pro-black imposters who played down Project 2025 and for whatever reason told blacks, don't vote. In other words, vote the couch or vote for Trump. Black imposters, pro-black imposters. But we can't even blame it all on the pro-black imposters because a whole lot of black people didn't vote at all for no reason, who never heard of the pro-black imposters. I'm reading a really good book right now on politics, and it talks about how blacks have oftentimes not voted in high numbers for decades. Now, for the last, about 60 years, when we vote, we vote overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party, and for good reason. For good reason, the Democratic Party has done a lot for the African-American community. But sometimes less than 50% of us vote. Less than 50% of us vote. And it's why we get the consequences that we are currently experiencing. Because you let the people win who don't have your best interests at heart. So when you stay home in November, you're going to start suffering about June, July, the next year when that party's policies kick in. And then you don't have nobody to blame but yourself because you didn't go out and say, no, I'm not voting for this person. I'm voting against this person because this other candidate, in this case, it would have been Kamala Harris. I assure you this stuff wouldn't have been happening had she won. Okay? So now our community is dealing with the aftermath, the consequences. Record unemployment since COVID. Inflation is high. People are losing homes. Insurance, they're losing insurance, medical insurance, and so on. It's bad. It's dark right now for our community. Civil rights enforcement being washed away. It's really bad. And it just hurts my heart to see our community suffering. Anyway, here's an article from the Washington Post. Look at the headline. It says, Black communities shaken by Trump cuts feel left behind again. And I just wonder whether people in these communities, whether blacks in these communities bothered to vote, or whether they listened to pro-black imposters who told them to either vote for Trump or not vote. But look at the consequences. Look at the consequences. It's heart-wrenching. Let's read some of this. The Trump administration has axed nearly 24 projects addressing health and environmental issues in Southern Black communities, a Washington Post analysis found, reversing years of work to address pollution, sewage leaks, flooding, and more, just washed away. His policies just washed away. Work that has been done on behalf of the African American community just gone because people didn't vote at the behest of pro-black imposters or just didn't vote, period. Just not able to connect voting with these types of things. I remember Killer Mike, the rapper, saying that blacks basically should just focus on local politics, not national politics. We got to focus on all of it. We got to vote in national elections, statewide, local, municipality. We got to be active in all of it because the wrong people get in place. This happens. These are the consequences. Elections have consequences. So anybody who tell you not to vote, they're playing for the other team. They're for the other team. They're not for us. They're not for African American. There's no way you can be for the African American community and telling black people not to vote. No, because this is what happens. And of course, the pro-black imposters will say stuff like, well, we need to teach the Democrats a lesson. You see how ridiculous that is? I spent all last year fighting that foolishness. It's not Democrats. In other words, it's not the politicians who are suffering. It's black people. It's people in these black communities, our people, who are suffering. This has nothing to do with the politicians. They're rich. They're doing fine. Whether they lose or win, they're going to be fine. Another lie they're out there telling is we're not going to vote unless we get reparations. Well, how is helping Trump win? How is that moving us toward reparations? How's that working out for you? This man is fighting everything he can that benefits blacks. There's no way this crowd would ever do any kind of reparations. And so they say, well, we'll suffer this just to get the Democrats' opinion so that get their attention. So then they will go in there and fight for reparations. Fool. The Democrats have already been fighting for reparations. Okay? They have already been fighting for reparations. H.R. 40. Since John Conyers. But this is a simple civics lesson. The Democrats can't do it by themselves. It has to be bipartisan. Well, when they had majorities, they could have done it then. That's another thing the pro-black imposters will say as a reason why blacks shouldn't vote for Democrats, so that Trump can win. Well, we've had this supermajority type of thing very, very infrequently as black people. As black people, very infrequently. Obama had a supermajority, but he only had it for months. Months. Just months. Biden, of course, had a majority, but it wasn't a supermajority. And despite not having a supermajority, Biden did a lot for black people. You've heard me say it so many times. So many times. Record low black unemployment. Record HBCU funding. Record student loan forgiveness. Record black child poverty reduction. And I could go on and on and on. Rural Alabama counties lost a $14 million grant to upgrade sanitation systems so decrepit that some residents have contracted hookworm. Listen to this. Listen to how our people suffering. A historically black Virginia neighborhood won't receive a $20 million grant to stop severe flooding. In Louisiana, multiple federal efforts have been halted. A Justice Department lawsuit against a corporation accused of worsening cancer risk in predominantly black neighborhood. The designation of one area as a National Historic Landmark to limit industrialization and grants from the Environmental Protection Agency to support monitoring air quality in Cancer Alley, an 80-mile stretch of mostly black towns and villages hit hard by industrial pollution. The Trump administration said the changes are needed to curb government spending. You remember all these black guys out there just cheering Trump? Trump, Trump, Trump. He tells it like it is. Trump, 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 Trump. He feels our pain because he's been treated unfairly by the criminal justice system. Trump, 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 Trump. Those are low information people who don't read, don't do any research. Thus, they're gullible to what the rappers and the pro-black imposters are out here saying. You don't have to be a genius to know you don't put your trust in a white supremacist movement and expect them to do right by you. Come on, folks. The Trump administration said the changes are needed to curb government spending. That's that big, beautiful bill. Officials have also linked some Biden-era climate programs to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that President Donald Trump and his top aides have said amount to illegal discrimination. So if it's any way related to DEI, Trump has gotten rid of it. And what did the pro-black imposters say? Well, that was just beneficial to white women, so don't worry about Trump getting rid of DEI. That's not going to hurt black people. Here's the proof that they are wrong. I was right. That we needed to vote Kamala Harris in. President Trump was given an overwhelming mandate to stop spending hard-earned taxpayer dollars on the left's radical climate agenda and restore common sense to the federal government's out-of-control spending, Taylor Rogers, a White House spokesman, said in a statement. So there, They lump all this stuff up to help poor black people into the left's radical climate agenda and restore common sense. Stop spending hard-earned taxpayer dollars. That's what they think of you, black folks. That's what the Trump administration thinks of you. Left-wing agenda. So who was putting that money to the side? Watch this. Who was putting that money to the side to help you? Black people? Democrats. Who got rid of it? Republicans. Who put the money to the side to help black people with cancer and sewage issues and so forth? Democrats. Who got rid of it? Republicans. Who gave you civil rights laws? Democrats. Who are trying to get rid of them? Republicans. This is simple, folks. This is simple. This is not complicated to know who you should be voting for right now. And another time, vote Republican. For example, radical Republicans during slavery, they were working to end slavery. So when black people got the right to vote, pursuant to the 15th Amendment, 13th, 14th Amendments, blacks voted overwhelmingly for Republicans because the Republicans at that time were progressive, or at least the radical Republicans. But that's changed. Now, for the last 65, 70 years, the party that has done the most for blacks, Democrats. And the party that has opposed everything, Republicans. Residents and racial justice and environmental advocates say the cuts and cancellations leave black communities without the resources to solve long-term problems and neglect that have contributed to deep racial inequities across the region. Many of the efforts had been in works for years, but gained steam after the 2020 racial justice movement. Those who have pushed for them say the Trump administration is unfairly dismissing the initiatives as DEI. But I thought DEI only helped white people, white women, and getting rid of them wouldn't affect blacks. I thought that's what they were saying. That's exactly what they were saying, the pro-black imposters. Old and crumbling infrastructure in these southern communities that should keep everyone safe and healthy is not going to be repaired or upgraded, said Jen Duggan, executive director of the Environmental Integrity Project and Advocacy Group. It is incredibly cruel, and it is lazy for the Trump administration to destroy and tear down these programs, especially when almost 2 million black people, or even a little bit over 2 million black people, voted for him. If it wasn't for black folks voting for Trump, he would not have won. He would not have won. Black people gave him the decisive votes to win in 2024 and in 2016. Even he knew that because he thanked black folks for voting for him in both of those elections.
To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come.
He said, thank you to black and Latino voters, and both of them right now are getting it. I'll be nice. He is sticking it to them. The post-analysis of grant databases and interviews with advocates and nonprofits that spearheaded the efforts identified 22 affected projects that lost grant funding or were undertaken by agency-led lawsuits, orders, and protections. The effort spanned several federal agencies, including the EPA and the Department of Justice, Interior, and Agriculture. The cuts were wide-ranging, largely ceasing projects that sought to ratify environmental blight and health and safety hazards. Others included building a park in Louisville and a community garden in Richmond. This big, ugly bill, I call it. We know, in addition to putting a whole lot of money on the national debt, cuts to Medicare, cuts to Medicaid are going to disproportionately affect black people. So it's not just these pet projects. The Trump administration's policies are horrible for black people. Again, the unemployment, black unemployment is already up within his first 7 months, higher than it has been since COVID 5 years ago. And it's steadily increasing. Inflation up. Civil rights enforcement down. In fact, they've gotten rid of the offices. And the offices that have remained are not focused on black racism affecting black people. It's focused on everything else. Reverse discrimination, anti-Semitism, and so on. Not black people. And this is what you voted for, or this is what you still voted for by not voting. I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm trying to help you connect the dots, beautiful people. My beautiful people. I love my beautiful people. I'm trying to get you to understand that if we get the opportunity to cast votes in the future, you can't sit it out. And you must vote against the GOP. Those are the people who are taking these programs. They said the left agenda, the left, they're talking about Democrats, are the ones who gave blacks that money. Trump is redirecting it from education to environment, civil rights, and so on. Firing a whole bunch of black people. Lisa Cook, that highly qualified woman on the Federal Reserve Board, he's doing everything he can to fire that woman. Like he did the general, who was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And we could go on and on and on and on. This man is not for us. He came in and he bamboozled low information black voters. All right, so let's go now, look at a little more of this article. I want you to see what this has cost the African American community in monetary measures, how much money these communities have lost. All right, so it says nearly 24 climate justice programs axed under Trump. Here's a sampling of the projects addressing health and environmental issues in Southern black communities that have been canceled this year. Notice this is only a sampling. So in Jackson, Mississippi, $20 million cut. Thomasville, Georgia, another $20 million cut. Union Heights, North Charleston, South Carolina, $11.4 million cut. Savannah, Georgia, $1 million cut. North Birmingham, Alabama, $75,000. Louds County, Alabama, didn't say. Mobile County, Alabama, $1 million. This is just a sampling. So, whoever said cutting these so-called DEI type programs would not have an impact on the black community is just foolish. All right, this says some federal notices canceling the projects pointed to a general shift in agency priorities. Many cited a Trump executive order to eradicate DEI programs, which it described as radical, wasteful, and amounting to forced, illegal, and immoral discrimination. Helping poor black people is now immoral discrimination, illegal discrimination, wasteful. It's now wasteful to help poor black people under the Trump administration. Wow. Radical to help poor black people. The order demands federal agencies eliminate any positions, offices, initiatives, grants, and contracts related to DEI or environmental justice, which refers to efforts to address disproportionate levels of pollution in poor, often non-white areas. It's just sad. It's sad that black people voted for this or didn't vote at all. Elections have consequences. Keep reading. Joy Banner and her neighbors in Wallace, Louisiana, for years watched the industrial transformation of their region. A rural landscape along the Mississippi River with centuries-old sugarcane fields where enslaved people once labored, and then cultivated their own crops once freed. Gray buildings replaced greenery, smoke clouded the air, pollutants muddied the waters. Then a company announced plans to build a $400 million grain export terminal. Community members appealed to the National Park Service to have 11-mile swath of land running through their town and county designated a National Historic Landmark. Wow. That would prevent companies from setting up shop, safeguarding residents' air, water, and land, Banner said. After emancipation, black communities put together their resources to purchase the land, Banner said. The plantations around us have historic status, but we argued that it's not just the plantations, but especially these black communities, these black villages, Freetown communities that are nestled between these plantations that are also historic. This is just heartbreaking. In October, the National Park Service determined the land was eligible for federal protection, stating in its year-long study that the area presents a remarkable, unique, rural, historic landscape that has remained rural agriculture and stable for more than 3 centuries. The agency said the district also illustrates an alternative narrative to the stories of sharecropping and the Great Migration. Enslaved laborers eventually became landowners, remaining in the area for generations. 4 months later, after the company behind the planned grain export terminal dropped its proposal, the Trump administration rescinded the notice of eligibility at the request of state leaders. See how the GOP work against us? The Interior Department said the process to deem the area eligible as a historic landmark was moot. I'm grateful that the Trump administration understands that states and localities are better at determining their interests relating to clean air, water, and developing industry than leaving crucial decisions like those to Washington, said Ariella Giacomonte, then Secretary of Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality. In other words, the state of Louisiana worked against what these black people were trying to get done once the Trump administration came in office. Folks, we got to do better. We got to do better for ourselves. There is no way 2 million black folks should have voted for Donald Trump and 3 or 4 times that amount not vote at all. Instead of what they should have done is they should have voted for Kamala. This wouldn't be happening. This wouldn't be happening. You see, Kamala's election would have been a continuation of black progress. So you had issues with her. Okay, we have issues with all of these folks who are in office. They're not perfect. But the ones who are progressive in the Democratic Party when it comes to race, they tend to do what is needed for the African American community. On the other hand, the GOP, the conservatives, they work against us every single time and have been doing so for at least a century and a half. The pro-black imposters don't know this because they don't read. Or if they know this, they're not telling you because they have some other motive. But the end result is Trump wins and black people suffers. Trump wins and black people suffer. Elections have consequences. We're going to get the chance to vote again in a few months, in about a year from now. You must make your voice and vote count this time. Don't listen to those people telling you not to vote and telling you to vote for these white conservatives. Or things are going to get a whole lot worse for a whole lot more black people. I am Reverend and Civil Rights Attorney Augustus Corbett. Thank you for watching this video. And what I'm saying to you folks is really simple. Stay woke.